Operation Epic Fury.
So tensions are heating up in the Middle East as Tehran accuses Israel of violating the ceasefire deal by striking Lebanon.
So Iran's president warning that continued attacks will bring, quote, explicit costs and strong responses and will make negotiations.
Yes, Israel kept bombing on Lebanon. That's why ceasefire is officially closed.
Meaningless.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv with the latest for us. Hey, Trey.
What's up, man?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. A significant statement just now from Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian saying that if Israeli actions in Lebanon continue, that it will render the negotiations that are set to take place on Saturday in Islamabad meaningless. Yesterday, we know the Israelis conducted dozens of airstrikes against Hezbollah positions inside of Lebanon, not just striking the southern Dakhla neighborhood in Beirut, but really the entirety of the
Look at this, dude. Israel attacked the Lebanon, Beirut. That's why Iran said no ceasefire.
country, including the Bekaa Valley and closer to the Israel-Lebanon border.
Look
The
at
IDF
this.
says they
Look at
also
this.
killed Ali Karshi, the secretary to Iran's largest proxy, Hezbollah, and that
They
is
killed the secretary. Oh my God.
the secretary to Hezbollah, and not the secretary general, but of course this is a top official. And Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says these types of strikes will continue with more goals to
This is
complete.
bad.
Take a listen.
This is bad for it.
We have more goals to complete.
Okay.
And we will achieve them
All
either
right.
by agreement or by renewing the fighting.
Whoa.
We are prepared to return to fighting at any moment necessary. Our finger is on the trigger.
What is saying, man?
With talks this weekend scheduled in Islamabad, Pakistan, the president overnight took to Truth Social to say, quote, all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else there is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy
All right.
will remain in place and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. Now,
This is something we have to know. Oh my God. You can see what is happening really.
there is a lot of focus today on the Strait of Hormuz. Yesterday, 4 vessels were allowed to pass through, but the Iranians are still saying publicly they're in control of the strait and that it is closed right now. Vessels have to check in with the Iranian military.
If anyone knows why red and green are different colors, why that cannot be the same colors, why two colors, red and green, let me know in the comment section because I don't know.
Other reports indicate they'd like to charge a toll for vessels to pass through this critical thoroughfare. Vice President J.D. Vance yesterday talking about
Iran is
threats
taking
against Iran
tolls.
before the negotiations begin.
Iran is taking tolls for
I
everyone.
urge the Iranians to come to the table seriously. We've seen some signs that they're going to do that. We've seen some signs of bravado. Fundamentally, we're in a good spot. They're reopening the straits. We have a ceasefire. And frankly, if they break their end of the bargain, then they're going to see some serious consequences.
All right, damn.
48 hours before negotiations are set to start in Islamabad, Pakistan.
Vance, Wyckoff, and Kushner are set to open Pakistan on Saturday.
This is the situation. The Strait of Hormuz right now appears to be closed. Additionally,
It
the
is
Atomic Energy
now
Chief
closed.
for Iran says that
Strait
they will
of
continue to
Hormuz
enrich
is
uranium
closed.
in direct contradiction to what President Trump said yesterday. And just moments ago, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said the negotiations will be meaningless if the Israelis continue their operation.
Always, this is the one main thing. Negotiations are meaningless if Israelis keep attacking Lebanon and other places that are like Iran allies.
Against Hezbollah. Guys?
Yeah, Trey, the president also said in that same statement, according to Reuters, we will not abandon the Lebanese people. So, I mean, the deal is over before we even start.
Yes, it is. It is over.
Look, the Iranians are known for not being good faith negotiators, and this is the challenge for the Trump administration. We heard yesterday Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary at the White House, laying out the U.S. plan to send a top-tier delegation to Islamabad, led by the vice president, J.D. Vance, with special envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, to try and get a deal done.
They are into the aircraft to reach Pakistan, where they negotiate with Iranian leaders, officials.
The president, once again, is extending an olive branch to the Iranians, an off-ramp in this conflict, understanding that there are still more than 50,000 U.S. forces in the region.
Damn, 50,000 U.S. forces are there in the region. This is a big number, big number.
That at a moment's notice could start firing again if ordered by the president. And once again, the Iranians do not appear to be taking this very seriously. There's a very clear agreement here, and an updated agreement, we are told by U.S. officials. The Points that the Iranians were putting out over the past 2 days were described to me as propaganda. They're trying to
This is propaganda. Everything is propaganda right now. Nothing can be seen as a real talks or something else. Nobody could be believe here. Somebody is taking games in their minds.
spin the negotiators ahead of these in-person talks in Pakistan. And so what we know here is that the commitments the Iranians made are not being adhered to ahead of these conversations. And it does raise serious questions about if they are willing to make a good faith agreement. But the president, in that post on True Social overnight, was very clear. The U.S. military remains prepared to respond if Iran wants to play around and not.
If Iran wants to play around, our US military is right there. 50,000 very trained Westmen are right there. They can be do what I want. We want the ground invasion. We can capture the whole Iran, the terrorist regime.
Not create a solid deal to end this conflict.
It wasn't the whole point of this ceasefire to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Now they're saying, Iran's foreign minister is saying, okay, we'll let you pass through safely if you coordinate with Iran's armed forces and you take certain routes. But they don't have the ability to tell people to do that, because that was the whole point of this. No more firing rockets into Iran if you open up the strait. But they haven't done that, Trey.
It's a dangerous game, and they don't really understand who they're dealing with.
This is what it is, guys. We gotta do these things because you see, Strait of Hormuz is closed now, and it is the same situation as before the 10 points and ceasefire.
With here. The president is a deal maker. He's someone who, even when we talked about the negotiations, was very clear. He sees the horizon here. And again, he is giving the Iranians a chance. But if they already are going back on parts of the deal, it will be interesting what they say behind the scenes. Oftentimes, the Iranians in public will try to negotiate with the press, or they will try to put out statements that make their.
But the main thing is here that the public is not the one in Iran who has the right. The top leaders are the one who can make the any decision they wanted. All right.
Side look more favorable and then make concessions behind the scenes. That is very possible. That's happening right now. We have to simply wait and see what comes out of these conversations.
This is all, guys. We simply wait and see what comes down to this. We can say the war. It's the World War III can be situation, wannabe situation. Let me know your comments and thank you for watching. Subscribe and follow.